reproduce the Ahmedabad assault.
And he scored! He scored behind first ball!
And good morning and welcome to the Green Park Stadium here on an extremely cold and windy morning. Now at the top of that opening sequence, you got a fair idea of what this pitch looks like. For his opinion on it, let's go down and meet Ravi Shastri.
The pitch here at Green Park has had a reputation in the past of being a batsman's paradise. But the pitch for this all-important test match between India and South Africa today looks to be totally different. It may look hard on the surface, but one look at the surface and you know that there's hardly any rolling being done over the last 3 or 4 days. Where it's different from the other ones is that you already have a lot of cracks on the very first day of the game. And this is bound to open out as the day and the match progresses. So one really won't be surprised if the spinners come into play first thing. You will get turn, and not only turn, early on you'll get a bit of bounce as well. But as the day progresses, the bounce will even out and you won't be surprised if the odd ball keeps a little low as well. So all in all, I think it's going to be a big toss to win. The team that wins the toss would look to bat first.
The decisive match and a very big toss. Both captains would be just a bit tense. With them is David Hooks.
John Reid has the coin, the match referee. Gives it to Sachin Tendulkar to toss. All important game. Honzi Cronje has scored heads. And it comes down tails. Sachin Tendulkar's won the toss. Sachin, what will you do?
We'd like to bat.
Any thoughts?
I think the wicket looks very dry and we'd like to play on this track when it's playing as best.
Now, what about your side today? Any changes from the second test?
We've made a couple of changes. Hirwani is out and Ashish Kapoor is playing in place of him. And VVS Lakshman is out and W. Raman will open.
Well, Sachin, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Indian captain Sachin Tendulkar and Honzi Cronje, the South African captain. Tough on with the tosses, Honzi.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good time, but we'll just have to bowl very well. It looks as though it'll turn later on. And probably assist the bowlers towards the end of the game. So we'll have to bowl really well in the first innings and see if we can bat past them in the second day.
You've got some good players in form now, players who've made centuries. When you first came here, you didn't have that luxury. Now you must be pleased that your players are in good form, batting form.
For sure, we had a couple of good matches, the second test match and also a 3-day game against the President's 11. And we're feeling a lot more confident about our batting than we had before the Ahmedabad test.
And no Alan Dolan, no John D. Rose. What's your team?
We've got De Villiers in for Donald, otherwise unchanged.
Good luck, Honzi.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Honzi Cronje, and the news down here at the pitch is that Sachin Tendulkar has the toss and India will bat in this very important test match.
2 changes for India. Vurkeri Raman comes in for VVS Lakshman and Ashish Kapoor for Narendra Hirwani. South Africa, on the other hand, 1 change that was forced on them, Fanny de Villiers for Alan Donald. So with play about to begin, let's go into the commentary box and join Ravi Shastri and Trevor Quirk.
Yes, Harsha, the stage is set and immediately there's just a little bit of a problem out there with the sun, which is shining down despite the fact that it's a cold, chilly, windy morning. The sun is penning down and reflecting off the advertising boards, which is upsetting Nayan Mongia, who's going to face the first delivery of the day.
It's a big toss that India has won. Important for them now to capitalize, try and get off to a good start.
And Monga is returned to the square and they'll be able to get back for the second. And Adams, who's down at fine leg, has quite a long way to run. And it's 2 runs the first ball of the test match to India.
That'll beat the man at mid-off, so Raman gets off the mark with a very, very fluently struck boundary back down past mid-off. So India 14 for no loss. There on the offside, he's opened the face of the bat, and that ball's gone for 4. Really just a slip. That was a pretty easy area to get runs from.
Yes, with the field that de Villiers has got now, that ball's got to be a lot fuller than that. Not allow the batsman to just adjust, open the face and run it into whatever area behind the wicket that he wants to. Slower ball. And nicely run away for 4. Very loose bottom hand.
And driven handsomely through the offside. Long chase here for Herschel Gibbs. And the ball wins. So another boundary for Raman on the offside.
Just hitting through the ball. That's something that you won't be able to perhaps do day 3, 4 and 5, but this morning he's able to do that, and to beat that young man to the fence is a pretty good effort. He's an outstanding fielder and just touches the rope.
And pulled away nicely by Raman on the onside. That'll go all the way to the fence. Control that shot extremely well, and it's 35 for no loss. Cut away by Mongia nicely. This will go all the way to the fence. Long chase here for Hudson. He won't get it.
That's the standard delivery for Adams, one that goes away from the right-hander. And as long as the batsman gets over the ball, watch Mongia here. He gets down over the ball, bends his back knee. You can see it there. Because there's not much bounce in this pitch. And once again, perfectly placed. The man is backward point to that to be fine.
It's a short, and away it goes. 4 runs, just backward a square. And India 47 for no wicket.
No bounce at all.
Certainly is a 6th boundary in that last over. The main contributor. Not a good ball down the leg side, and it's just helped on its way, and it'll run to the fence.
Although there's no pace in this pitch, and certainly no pace in the bowler either, it only takes just a little bit of wood. It's really quite a quick outfield. That's a poor delivery, and nicely dealt with by Mongia.
Chinaman, and for a moment he thought he had his man there, but he just got a bit of bat on it, and he gets a single, so it's the 50 up.
So it'll be Paul Adams to continue, but to the left-handed Raman. The individual scores just closing up a little bit now. 6 between the two of them.
Adams to bowl to Raman. He got him out in the match that was just played during the week. India A, Raman opening the batting. He was caught and bowled by Adams for 32. And he was very nearly castled there.
That's well bowled. Loose shot here from the Indian opener. That's not the first time I've seen the bottom hand come off the bat. Last time he did it, he drove the ball to cover. But that's perfect delivery from Adams through the proverbial gate. That is the gap between bat and pad. And not only beating the stumps, but beating wicketkeeper Richardson as well.
Now Mongia goes on a bit of a slog here, and he brings it off rather well, and it's 4 runs to mid-wicket.
Well, that's an interesting shot with quarter an hour to go to lunch. What we've got to see is whether Mongia picked him. Was it the googly or the Chinaman? It wasn't the Chinaman, so it wasn't hitting against the spin. Wasn't great batting from Mongia. A bit of a smear, really, but successful. And 4 more to the total.
Well, that's over pitch, and he's hammered it through the covers for 4. That was the right one to hit. He gave it lots of air, and it was too full.
Much better stroke this from the Indian wicketkeeper. Left foot really didn't move too much either, but the ball was so full, it didn't need that foot placement in order to dispatch it to the boundary.
Straight to the covers this time. Herschel Gibbs to do the fielding. His test career, 64 wickets, the average much the same, just around the 30 mark. But you see, he's never taken 5 wickets in an innings. This is down to third man for 4 runs. There's nobody there, and the way he angled his bat, it was very safely played between the first slip and the gully.
Not only the angling of the bat, but the stick. And I think probably Hansi Cronje's gone back into lunch feeling that maybe 4 boundaries too many were struck. He would have been happy, I think, with 60 for no wicket. Well, he would have loved a wicket, obviously. Would have liked 2, but 60 in the morning session would have been more satisfactory. As it is, India have got off to a very stable start indeed.
Straight through, and middle stump goes out of the ground, and what a start for South Africa immediately after lunch. So Mongia, a centurion a couple of test matches ago against Australia, and McMillan has picked up his vital wicket.
Exactly what was required from the fielding side. A little bit of late in-swing there. In fact, quite a lot of in-swing. Bit of reverse swing, maybe. That ball has got very scuffed up. So, Nayan Mongia, his highest score of the series so far, 41. And India lose their first wicket with a score on 76.
India 76 for 1. Saurav Ganguly comes to the crease. And after the wicket, Venkat, umpire Venkat, talking to McMillan about running on the pitch. And I've seen bowlers suck up their umpires before, but McMillan just showing enormous respect for Venkat, as is Pat Simcox. And that's a lovely international flavour. Umpire Venkat, umpire Shepherd at the other end, 2 of the most respected umpires, but no need for the umpire to come into play with this delivery. As Robin Jackson said, late in-swing. You see the shiny side going to where it shouldn't be going, if you know what I mean, and that is that generally the shiny side goes to the opposite side where you want it to swing, but this late in-swing there has become more the norm, Robin, since you retired.
Very much so. Last ball of the over.
So a good over for South Africa, a wicket maiden for Brian McMillan. He has 5 overs, 1 for 12, and just showing the wicket again, and just talking about that late swing, Robin. It's something that some people find very difficult to comprehend and understand. It's not an easy thing to describe, is it?
It isn't, because all the coaching manuals will tell you that if you want to bowl an outswinger to a right-hander, then the shiny side is on the side of the pitch, but you can clearly see where that shiny side is. Oh, that's brilliant that we can show it to you that clearly. It's on the onside of the pitch that would normally swing out, but just watch it swing in. Reverse swing, they call it.
And any time, Robin, you want to explain the aerodynamics, that'll be fine. Lovely off drive. Absolutely superb. The shot of the morning, quite simply, he leant into the shot, did not even leave his crease once the ball hit the bat.
There were cries of catch it there. It'll be interesting to see just how long the ball is in the air. Just a little while, but splitting the gap between the short extra cover and the mid-off to perfection. Beautiful timing, but that won't discourage Simcox, or shouldn't.
And through the gully area, 4 runs, just a bit too much width, and without the extra bounce, it is really going to be hard for the slips and the gully men to come into play as far as catching. So, consecutive boundaries to Ganguly. He got off the mark with the first one, and he doubled his score with the second. And he's down the pitch, and he got beaten in the flight, but is good enough to adjust his shot because of the slowness of the pitch and hit it to the point boundary. Well, Simcox had beaten him all ends up, but Rahman too good in the end. And he's got over the top. So the young man just fails to get the maximum. And 2 consecutive boundaries last over, 2 consecutive boundaries to finish the Simcox London. India after lunch, 98-1.
Well, not only does Rahman bring some flair to the top of the Indian order, but he also makes a great contribution to the sense of humor in the dressing room. Can have you rolling over with laughter sometimes. It's a serious moment for him. You don't see that very often from what is undeniably a great fielding side. 100 on the board for India. That kept low again, but he's swished it and it's gone racing away down to mid-wicket for 4. What a spectacular way to bring up your half-century.
It's been a very good innings by W.V. Rahman. He's got a chance to come back into Test cricket after a long time, and he's made the most of it. A lovely boundary to reach his 50. He controlled that shot very well, because again this ball really didn't come off the pitch, came pretty slowly, but Rahman did well to place it through mid-wicket. That's his 4th 50 in Test cricket.
Bob Woolmer there received a memento yesterday, just commemorating the services of his father when he was playing cricket here. The morning newspaper said he was pretty moved. Good shot from Rahman. Just beats the man into the boundary.
Well, this is a glorious piece of timing from Rahman. He's not hit it too hard. He's just punched it off the back foot. Opening the face of the blade at the right time and getting the placement right as well. I think he's just taking a look at the scoreboard. And there he goes. And there he goes. The hop, skip and jump.
Just a slightly loose shot last play off. He's got it spinning from
a little bit disappointed with this shot of his, but a little bit disappointed with the shot of his. But we have tried that on he's focused on last a little bit away from left, and he's again we're not quite getting that front foot, and the pitch is one on, not quite getting that front foot, the pitch for the ball, and good action gully. Raman finding stops and ends. India is finding things come to an end. India loses the second wicket. 111 runs on the board.
So Sachin with the room got behind him. Comes in, not too many runs behind him. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Shot at the end seemed to it was shot that left leg
a lot of time here for Ganguly to rock back on that back foot. It's an easy paced wicket, and that's a fine shot. Clearly showing that you cannot afford to pitch short on the surface.
Overpitched by Simcox, he's driven. Overpitched by Simcox, he's driven through the covers, and it's 4 runs. Hansi Cronje dived to try and stop it. Must have got close to it, but it beat him. De Villiers doing reasonably well. Simcox too, doing reasonably well. The wicket to Tendulkar.
Very attacking field. 4 men around the bat, 2 men on the offside. They're slipping the silly mid-off, silly point, and 2 on the leg side. Just behind square leg and just in front of square leg. So a very attacking field. Tendulkar got out to Simcox in the last test match, and Simcox was most pleased with that dismissal.
Huge appeal again from Simcox. Once again, umpire Shepherd doesn't want to know.
No, that's that consistency we've been speaking about. Not really a shot played. Bat a long way behind the pad, so no real intention of hitting the ball with the bat.
And again, Simcox feels the same.
This one turning and therefore missing leg stump. So Simcox has got to be a little bit careful in appealing willy-nilly.
The turn there for Simcox. Kept low too as it went down the leg side. Well taken by Dave Richardson. Knocked away past the square leg umpire, and Adams after it. And there's 2 for Ganguly. Again, it's away on the onside, this time backward of the square leg umpire, and once again they'll get 2 runs as Kirsten has to do the chasing this time. This is down to third man, 4 runs. He angled the bat perfectly there to get between the second slip and the first of the 2 gullies. There's no third man, and so 4 runs. 132 for 2. And quite a little breeze blowing. Klusner to Ganguly. Plays that shot well, and he's got it away through cover point, and I think the ball will win, and does. Just too short.
That appeal will be turned down and will bring the afternoon session to a close. The players will go off for a cup of tea. And a good session it's been for India. Not a bad one for South Africa. They got 2 out. Lunch 76 for no wicket. Tea 155, so 79 runs in that session. Only 3 more in the end. So not a great last half hour for India. A good one for South Africa, but I suppose the bonus was India didn't lose any more wickets after those two, one of which was immediately after lunch. That was Mongia, bowled by McMillan, late in swing, reverse swing. And then Klusner caught a good catch off McMillan to dismiss Raman for 57. Ganguly's played beautifully for 39, and Tendulkar cautiously, one can only say, for his 13 to date. 5 bowlers used. De Villiers didn't bowl this afternoon, to my recollection. Klusner, Simcox, McMillan and Adams all did. And that is the situation at the tea break. 155 for 2.
Peel for LBW, and up goes the finger. And Ganguly has been trapped LBW by Hansi Cronje, having his first bowl of the day after the tea interval, and that a very important breakthrough for South Africa. Ganguly, LBW, Hansi Cronje for 39.
I said earlier in the day that umpire Shepherd wouldn't be frightened to give wickets, give LBWs on the front foot, so long as he's happy that it's pitched on, it's travelled on, and he can see where it's going to finish. And that did all 3. It's hit him well below the roll, although he got forward. We'll see more of it when we come back. 39, Ganguly, India, 160 for 3.
Rahul Dravid is the new batsman, and Hansi Cronje is in at him. And let's take a look again at that LBW.
Ganguly forward. There's no doubt about that, but that ball pitched on the stumps and with the swing held on the wicket.
Oh, he's broken free at last. That's gone for 6. After what seemed an eternity of strokelessness, Sachin Tendulkar has decided that's how he's got to play his cricket. He can play those shots occasionally.
Right in the slot. No danger to the stroke whatsoever, no man out.
Now an appeal on that one he's given him. So Rahul Dravid, strokeless for so long, has realized what it is not to score runs at all. One mistake and you're gone. India lose their 4th wicket for 185.
Well, umpire Venkat Garvin hasn't given anything all day, but he's seen the ball pitch, straighten.
Tendulkar had his back turned, and had that throw hit direct, they would have been run out by quite a distance.
This time the run is on. In fact, there'll be more than one here. Adams comes steaming round the boundary down there at fine leg, and they get 2.
Well, the Indians would need something special from their captain. He's been in there for a long time, has had a good look at the bowling.
Oh, the sounds. For a moment, I thought that Kumble had chopped that onto his stumps, but it was the noise of the ball hitting Richardson's gloves.
I think it's come off Richardson's gloves here. It's hit his gloves first and then dislodged the bails.
I think there might have been a bottom edge in that. We might have another look at it. But, of course, a bottom edge, very difficult for a wicket-keeper to take. Can't really call it a catch when the keeper's standing up like that. It's driven again. Back angled, though, so the ball going backward a point. Well, he brings up the 200, that single. South Africa will be quite happy to have Kumble on strike. Eventually they get it right. 299. Sure, India wish that was the case. Extra close man comes in for the last ball of Simcox's over. Kumble. Again the appeal for LBW. You won't get those from umpire Shepherd. 200 for 6.
There, Pat Simcox, on a very teasing line just outside that off stump.
Just what he wants Kumble to do there. That was way outside the off stump. It turned back and Kumble was trying to give himself a bit of room to cut. And he should have just been defending. Last ball of the day. And this time he does get it away. He's a bit too short this time, Simcox. And he's punched away on the offside by Kumble, and it will go to the boundary. So a bold shot off the last ball of the day for Kumble. And that is the end of it all for today. And umpire Shepherd and Simcox continue their conversation even after the day. But there goes Hansi Cronje. Now he'll be well pleased with what has happened today. The disappointment of losing the toss, which was considered vital when all and sundry had a look at this particular pitch here at Green Park. Much of that disappointment will have been negated by the fact that South Africa have pegged not only the Indian score down to 204 for the day, but have picked up 6 wickets. And Tendulkar is the one man that India has to carry them to the sort of score they would have been hoping for, having won the toss. They got off to a wonderful start. Mongia and Rahman were unparted in the first session up to lunch, and then in the very first over after lunch, Macmillan bowled Mongia after they put on 76 together, the best opening partnership for India in the series. Nelson struck at 111, but at tea, with only 2 down and 155 on the board, India was still in a very good position with Ganguly on 39 and Tendulkar on 13. And then, after the tea interval, 4 wickets fell, and only Tendulkar has stood firm since tea. And the man who's done the damage, young Paul Adams, having gone for 23 from his first 4 overs, he came back, and in his first 3 overs after the tea interval, when he came back, he took a wicket in each one of those, and in fact his last 10 overs have cost him only 8 runs, and he's picked up 3 wickets. And whereas Macmillan had been the pick of the South African bowlers up to then, 2 for 40 from 18 overs, Paul Adams has come back in style to take 3 for 31. There's been good support from Fani de Villiers. Look at that, just 18 from 15, and in fact from all of them. They've done extremely well, with something like 31 maidens in the day. It's been a fine fight back by South Africa.
So 204 runs in the day. With me is David Hooks. David, not the brightest day of Test cricket you've ever seen.
No, it's not, because of the lack of runs, particularly when 76 came in the first session. And I think that we've seen over the last 18 months results have occurred in Test cricket because around about 280 to 320 runs per day have been the norm. So it's been a disappointing day, and I think that Tendulkar would be disappointed when he walks into the changing rooms now.
Well, he is battling personal form, really. Do you think that had a major bearing on the way India played?
Well, I'm sure that it did, because when one of the best players in the world is trying to find some form, that it must affect the blokes at the other end of the crease. And I just felt that India got bogged down with Sachin trying to find his own form. Now, he'll find it, there's no question about that. But it probably cost him a couple of hours of vital cricket today, and we'll have to wait and see over the next 2 or 3 days what happens with that.
Just 49 runs in the last session. Do you think South Africa really won it back over there?
Yes, they did. I think that when it was none for 76 at lunch, I think they were looking for something like 280 to 290 in a day. So they would be very, very pleased. And I think that Cronje has done very well. He's worked very hard with his bowlers. The bowlers have worked very hard. The 2 bowlers that Robin Jackman's about to speak to did wonderfully well.
Thank you, David. And as he said, the 2 bowling heroes for South Africa, Brian McMillan and Paul Adams, and they're down there now with Robin Jackman.
Well, Brian, first of all, thanks very much indeed for the loan of that. It was quite cold up there. You can go now. Thanks very much. Let's just talk about the day. Obviously, from a team point of view, you must be pretty pleased with the way things have gone, having lost the toss.
Yes, obviously 200 for 6, whatever the case is. I think we probably chased a bit more from the start they got. But it would be nice to have bowled them out for now. But yeah, we're pretty pleased.
Just tell me, as a seamer, what you'd actually like bowling on there.
It reminds me a bit of the wicket, Western Australia. It's awfully flat. I think there's probably a few cricketers buried in that wicket somewhere. But it's hard work. Not a hell of a lot happening out there.
Yeah, lack of bounce must make you have to use every other form like reverse swing and change of pace and that sort of thing.
That's right. I think if you got it in your armour, you can do it. But pretty hard work. We've buried our pace quite nicely today. We've got to reverse swing it slightly. I couldn't bowl like proper Adams here, but yeah, it was hard work.
Well, Paul, you got 3 wickets by the end of the day. How influential was the lack of bounce for you? Did you really miss it?
Yeah, I thought it was some to turn and bounce and some kept low, so it's always very difficult for a batsman, especially with one coming in, so it's quite difficult for a batsman out there.
And just tell us about the flip-flack now. How long have you been practicing that?
No, since I've seen Hugo Sanchez and Stockett wanted to do it, so Auntie just told me just do it in this game.
Well, I hope you don't pull a muscle doing it and can't bowl in the second innings or anything like that. Tomorrow, what's the form, Brian? Obviously, to get them out just as quickly as possible, and from there?
Well, them out as quickly as possible, obviously, and get as many runs as possible, and have, obviously, from there on, just pull them out again. Yeah. We need a win here, obviously. It would be nice to win a home series there, or a West series for them.
Yeah, the less batting you have to do in the last innings, obviously, the better.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the wicket or you've put the camera on it, but it looks a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a lot of loose ends there. It's going to be hard work. It's low and slow. I think the odd one could quite nicely. 2 pieces out. It's going to be interesting.
Okay, guys, thanks very much after a long day. Thanks for talking to us. And by the way, David Hooks asked you to get a haircut.
Asking for a few pounds, I might just do it.
And a big smile on his face and congratulatory hugs from his teammates. Look at that, 6 for 55. What an unbelievable performance, Robert.
Wonderful performance and doing just the job that he was brought out here to do. Yeah, Ashish Kapoor lived by the sword and dies by it as Konya takes a comfortable catch at long off. But really, young Paul Adams came out here as a strike bowler. I want to emphasize that point. And he's certainly done that. He's struck 6 times in this innings, and India will no doubt be very disappointed with their first innings score. It might still prove to be an effective score, but I think when Sachin Tendulkar won the toss yesterday morning, he didn't anticipate to be fielding halfway through the morning session of day 2 with only 237 runs to the team's name.
Yes, India got off to such a good start without losing a wicket in the first session. Mongia and Rahman putting on 76. But then the slide started, and only Tendulkar after that with his 61, he got out today as well, trying to hit Adams while the tail end was with him. 237 all out. Very disappointing performance for India. And tremendous bowling from the South Africans. They stuck to their task. They put the disappointment of losing the toss behind them, and typically they got down to the business of doing the job, and every single one of them performed creditably. But the star of the show, 6 for 55, Paul Adams. Well, again he hits it in the air. This time it's to the right of Prasad, and it's going to go for 4 down the ground. But again, it wasn't a convincing shot from Gary Kirst, 4 for no wicket. Right hand.
His score of his 19th, I thought that was pretty catchable height through the gap. It was catchable, but there wasn't a fielder there. And lucky for Hudson. Thick edge. There is no third slip. And another boundary for Hudson. So a few problems there for the Indians on where to place their slips and how far they should be from the bat. We've seen a couple falling short, and now we've seen one going to the gap. pulled away, and that will be 4 runs quite easily.
A few players in world cricket that play the shot better than Andrew Hudson. Even though he's on the front foot, that's his initial movement, he's so quick to spot the short ball. This pitch lacks the pace. He has enough time to, in fact, drag it from outside the off stump, just behind square and into the fence, the second boundary of the over.
And even that's gone square, but beautifully placed. Coming forward, his momentum meeting the ball, and that's why he was able to place that ball to point. Lovely ball, fast ball, and he's given him. Well, you can't play back and across the line to a player of that skill who drags the ball in. His stock delivery to the right-hander is the one that slides into him, and Hudson paying the penalty of shuffling.
No real foot movement. That left foot should have kept going down the wicket. Don't think there's a lot of doubt about that. Kept low. And umpire Venkatragavan dismisses Andrew Hudson, or at least indicates that. 15 to Andrew Hudson. Played very nicely, but the first breakthrough, that's what's important as far as India is concerned. South Africa 34 for 1.
Herschel Gibbs, the young man that we've just been speaking about, has come to the crease because Hudson has departed. And that's a dangerous ploy. He's just seen an LBW and he pads up first ball.
This dismissal of Hudson. His first movement was forward, but then for some inexplicable reason he decided to try and play back or go back, and that just skids on through Kumble's flipper. Dangerous delivery. We'll see plenty of it in this innings.
The end of a successful over for the Indians. South Africa 34 for 1.
Some of that must be drying out, but it's hardly going to turn into quickest wicket that one's ever seen.
And the man doing a bit of jigsaw work there. He's given the jigsaw as a youngster, and he's filled in a little bit of a mosaic piece there, but he's right adjacent to the pitch. You see him there? And he just drags a bit out with his spike, which he then puts back in.
Should have put it in his pocket and kept it. That would have annoyed the groundsman at the end of the day. Can't find the missing piece.
Piece back. The reason that Dravid is putting it back is because he has to bat on it again. So he doesn't want to see it fall apart yet. Maiden over, and this, whether that will be lunch or not, umpire Shepard says it is lunchtime to have something to eat, which he no doubt will enjoy. South Africa 34 for 1, and a very, very good morning session here in Test cricket. That man there came out on a mission, Tendulkar. Fell over by getting out, trying to hit Adams back over his head for the second time. Only succeeded in hitting it to mid-off. And India finished up on 237. South Africa had just over an hour to bat. In fact, 16 overs. They lost the wicket just an over and a half before lunch, and that of Hudson. LBW to a slider from Kumble, a flipper if you like, one that just kept going and really did do Hudson pretty comfortably. Kirsten looked pretty good, and Gibbs has just come to the crease. So Kumble coming in quite late after some 12 overs had been bowled. Kumble was brought into the attack, and it took a wicket, the wicket falling at 34. This is a summary of the game so far. Yesterday morning, Tendulkar won the toss, and India 237 all out. 4 players got a good start, you can see there. 2 opening batsmen, Ganguly and Tendulkar, but nobody could do the real damage. And Adams did the damage for his side. 6 for 55, a 19-year-old, a sensational performance. McMillan and Cronje bowling well as well. South Africa with 16 overs to bat before lunch on the second day, 34 for 1.
Beaten outside the off stump, but it's gone for buys. Didn't carry to Mongia, and those are the depressing things for the bowler, that even if he had edged it, it wouldn't have got to the keeper to have got him out, especially in playing a defensive shot like this.
An awkward bounce there for Mongia. Ball really not carrying from Prasad. And going away to the third man fence for 4.
Prasad to continue. What do you think, Ravi, is in Tendulkar's mind in terms of how he's going to rotate his bowlers?
I think when the ball is hard and new, he wants to have a medium pace at one end and a spinner at the other. Coming off the pad on that occasion. Because by doing that, by having a medium pace at one end and a spinner at the other, it acts as a little bit of a variation. Doesn't allow the batsman to get into any sort of rhythm when it comes to playing the spinners. But at some stage, he will have to get spinners bowling together in tandem, because he's got 3 spinners in the side. There's an off spinner, Ashish Kapoor and Sunil Joshi. So he has a good opportunity to shuffle his bowlers around.
It'll run away towards the boundary rope. It won't go all the way down there. Nice bit of fielding.
Plays that beautifully through mid-wicket. Lovely shot, the ball running away towards the boundary, and will win. Premier going right back, which will make the heart of any South African skip, because the ball is keeping a bit low.
This is a dangerous boy. Particularly first ball, we haven't got the pace and the bounce of the pitch.
This time he's forward, and will get off the mark with one just backward of square. Cullinan now taps this one away backward of the square leg umpire for a single. Kenny goes onto his back foot and turns square right in front of his stumps.
If you watch the reaction of Cronje after he hits it, you'll realise that he knows that he shouldn't have come back. He just waves his arm erratically.
That's a full toss, and it's hammered away through mid-wicket for 4. Bad ball, and it gets the treatment. And they're all dressed in their cricket gear. And one of the heroes now galloping after it. Not exactly galloping, or maybe I'm using the wrong words. And Dr. Irani charging out, and Prasad hardly galloping after that, but he got there in the end, and they got 2.
Good ball that. Pitching on middle and leg. Cullinan did well in the end because he played it with hard hands and realised that he had to soften his grip, and in the end he did it pretty well.
Nicely played to mid-on by Cullinan. He gets his weight up nicely for those shots. It's just a single this time.
That's not the same demons in this pitch as there were in Ahmedabad, but I think the difference between the side at the moment is that there are half a dozen centuries now for these South African batsmen in one form of cricket or another.
There's the sweep from Cronje against the spin of the left-hander, of course. Easier to sweep Kapoor.
And just going back to the boundaries, as you see the full toss being paddled around. Now, before that first test in Ahmedabad, no century to the South Africans for about 4 or 5 weeks. Suddenly in the last month or so, There's been 6 centuries made, so they're in better form to face good spin bowling.
Hit well by Daryl Cullinan. He likes to play the left-hander like that by backing away, giving himself a bit more room and trying to cut him, hit him square on the offside.
A lot of people say that's a dangerous ploy in case the ball keeps low, but you've still got to back your instincts at times to score. Doug Walters, the former Australian player, played that shot beautifully on these sort of pitches.
Tapped away to where umpire Shepherd was standing. He starts moving forward because he knows it's the end of the over and ends with that single. Safely negotiated by Daryl Cullinan. Umpire Ben Cat has a look at his watch and now lifts the bails. So, tea on the second day, and South Africa 108 for 3. The 74 runs have come in the session, the loss of 2 wickets. And we had 31 overs bowled in that session. And Daryl Cullinan and his captain will fight on after tea. It sums up the third test here in Kanpur for you. India all out for 237, resuming at 204 for 6 this morning, and they lost their last 4 wickets for the addition of just 33 runs. Paul Adams picking up 3 of those to end with his best ever figures of 6 for 55. Good bowling too by Hansi Cronje, 2 for 11. And Tendulkar getting out for 61 today. And South Africa in reply 108 for 3, with wickets falling at fairly even intervals, just partnerships of 30 developing and then a man getting out. Kirsten top score so far on 43, but it'll be Cullinan on 19 and Cronje, who has 8 that will resume after the tea interval.
Taken down the slips, Waziruddin. That's a good sharp catch. That went quickly. He stayed down and took it with both hands. So South Africa losing their 4th wicket just when Cullinan was looking good. It's the leg spinner from Anil Kumble. Hasn't bowled many. Ball turns, as we've been very upright to start with, but he got down quickly. And Cullinan paying the penalty of looking to work a leg spinner through the onside. Out for a nicely played 29, but nevertheless out, and South Africa 121 for 4.
Oh, he's bowled in. He's bowled in, uprooting the leg stump, and McMillan is gone for 1. And that's got them on their feet. And South Africa now 5 down.
Well, Brian McMillan plays this way all the time. You watch him plant his front foot, stays there, tries to play around it, and a late in-swing. In contemporary parlance, that is reverse swing, and Brian McMillan goes, gives himself a rueful nod of the head, and McMillan goes for 1. South Africa 126 for 5.
Wicketkeeper Dave Richardson is the new batsman, coming to join his skipper, Hansi Cronje. He does meaningfully, but he chips it up in the air, and he could be caught, and he is caught by the mid-on, and that's the one they really wanted, the Indians. The South African captain is gone, and South Africa now in real trouble at 130 for 6.
Well, I made the point that he's going to come forward. That was obvious, and he came forward. His footwork was pretty good, and then in attempting to go over the top, he only succeeded in hitting the ball on the up, and that is a very important wicket in the context of this match and therefore in this series. So the South African captain is gone, caught by VVS Lakshman, bowled Kumble, and South Africa now slumped to 130 for 6.
Lance Klusener, the new batsman, replacing the South African captain Hansi Cronje. Oh, he's chopped it onto his stumps. He likes to run them down to third man. That wasn't the one to do it to. It was too close to him. It might have just nipped back a bit. And Dave Richardson chopping it onto his leg stump. And goodness me, how the wickets are tumbling now.
Well, too full to play back to. And Dave Richardson knows that Srinath has the ability to swing the ball in late. He closes his eyes there in frustration. He realises there that he should have gone forward, played a dead back to it, but it's easy to say from up here. But an experienced man leads the crease for just 4. South Africa now 131 for 7.
Pat Simcox, the off spinner. He was up here in the commentary area a little while ago. I don't think he could ever have believed he would have to be down there and out there batting so early on today. And now an appeal for LBW. It must have just been going down the leg side, but the way it hit him, it might not have been too bad a shout. Now he goes down the wicket and hits it straight back past the bowler. Has this got enough timing on it to go for 4? Yes.
We'll look through that card at the end of the day, and Gary Kirsten will say to himself that he was looking to turn a ball against the spin, leading edge. Gibbs cutting an off spinner. Cullinan turning a ball against the spin, leading edge. Cornier looking to go over the top. Richardson cutting an in swinger.
And a great catch. Klusner goes. South Africa in bigger trouble.
Hey, that was a stunner because that ball was really traveling. We've seen some good fielding today. We saw Raman pick up a sensational catch, but this ball was really traveling as Rahul Dravid got to it.
Fantastic catch. Klusner hit that very hard. Didn't hit it where he wanted to hit it, but my goodness me, it was almost quicker than the camera can be. Rahul Dravid, wonderful catch. Klusner out for 9. And now, India in command of this game.
South Africa have lost their last 5 wickets for just 23 runs in a sensational turnaround. Watch Rahul Dravid on this one. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Ball was veering away from him. Fonny de Villiers. That's a typical Simcox shot. That's going to clear the boundary by about 10 yards.
Good stroke. Simcox has waited for... well, actually he hasn't, because he's tried it a couple of other times and been unsuccessful, but this is right in the strike area. Just the perfect length for it. And well over the rope and the billboards.
He's given in. Umpire David Shepherd believes that Fonny de Villiers was adjacent enough. I just get the feeling Fonny didn't quite agree on that occasion. But the wicket's gone down and South Africa have lost number 9.
And the end of a partnership that did have a certain irritation value. De Villiers disappointed. Let's see if we can see why. It's hit him on the move on the way over. I wonder if he didn't get a little bit of bat on that. I think that's the problem in terms of how long it took Fonny de Villiers to leave the crease. But anyway, we'll look at it again later on. He's out for 6 and 163 for 9 South Africa. Last ball negotiated by Paul Adams.
So he swings at it and he's going to get 4 runs as Paul Adams.
The closer South Africa can get to India, the better for them.
Down the wicket he goes this time, and there might be a run out here because it was fiercely hit back by Simcox and Josie just got a hand on it, went in crashing into the stumps, and I think everybody realizes that he is out, that he has been run out. I think even Adams acknowledges that, but they're going to wait for umpire Jai Prakash to decide.
Yes, when the ball did hit the stumps, after it hit Sunil Joshi's hands, I think Adams' bat was in the air. He had not put it down in time, and I'm afraid he might just have to leave the ground with South Africa being all out. We'll take another look.
It's a terrible way to be run out. Yeah, his bat's in the air, and even though they haven't got the square shot, there goes the red light. They knew it, the players knew it, and that is the end of the South African innings, ending in quite bizarre circumstances. And South Africa all out for 177, giving India a lead of 60 in the first innings. And a great opportunity lost by South Africa, having bowled India out for 237, which is a great effort. India having first use of the pitch, they really had to capitalize on having achieved that by piling up a sizable lead, and they have failed to do so. After being 121 for 3, they collapsed dramatically. Very disappointing performance by South Africa. Let it be said immediately, though, that it was a very good bowling performance by the Indians, and I thought, Ravi, they lifted their fielding too.
Yes, their catching was excellent. They didn't drop any catches that came their way, and all the bowlers made sure that they kept the pressure on the South African batsmen. The pressures were relentless. Kumble 4 for 71. Srinath bowling beautifully with the old ball, getting some reverse swing, picking up 3 for 42. Ashish Kapoor was the man who did the damage early on, 2 for 9.
At their very best, and their bowlers. And what they didn't like as a wicket this evening, but they're not going to get it. Instead, there's going to be 2 runs here to Rahman with some bat and pad. This time they do go up, and up goes the finger too, and that's exactly what South Africa wanted, is an early wicket in the 4 overs that have to be bowled this evening in the Indian second innings, and Barney de Villiers in his first over has got the wicket of W.V. Rahman.
Now this time the ball comes back into the left-hander and strikes from right in front. That breakthrough for South Africa. Out about that, big breakthrough for South Africa. Run gone with just 2 runs from forward.
Anil Kumble has been sent out as the night watchman, and a pretty useful sort of night watchman he is likely to be, and this is why.
This one pitches around middle and leg stump, just holds its line, comes back a little bit into the left-hander, and when it struck him, he was right in front of his stumps.
That was the last ball of Barney de Villiers. Scrambling stop just backward of square by Simcox, but they'll get 2 runs and save 2, because that might well have gone for 4. Again, it was slipping away down the leg side, and Kumble very eager to get off, and away they go to the dressing room at the end of day 2. The sun beginning to slip away, and an interesting day it has been.
It was a good fight back by the Indians, especially after they were bowled out for 237. They would have been very disappointed with that effort this morning, but you must also give credit to Paul Adams. He's a sensation, and he's bound to pick up more 5-wicket hauls in his career. Today was the first time he went past the 5-wicket mark, 6 for 55, but I won't be surprised if it's not the first of many.
Yes, his previous best was 3 for 30 in the Ahmedabad test, so he's having a good tour, having been flown out just before the Ahmedabad test. 6 for 55, wonderful effort by the young man, but great bowling too from Kumble and Srinath today. It's been a bowler's day once again, and now India lead by 67 runs with
now Nayan Mongia and the night watchman. Anil Kumble. And in the commentary box now, we've got Ravi Shastri, with him Robin Jackman.
Thank you very much, Harsha. Good morning to all our viewers. Day 3 of this test match, and it promises to be a fascinating one. South African point of view, they'll try and make early inroads in this Indian batting lineup. They've already picked up 1 wicket. That was late last evening when W.V. Raman was dismissed by Fani de Villiers. Anil Kumble has come out to join and Mongia. And from the Indian point of view, they are in a good position. They've got a lead of 60. And ideally, they would like to get at least 250 runs in this second innings. Good morning, Robin.
Morning, Ravi. Morning, everybody. Early morning to some. Yeah, it's the one thing this whole Test series has held is a great deal of interest every day. You know, there's been lots of comments about the pitches that have been played on. Ahmedabad, Calcutta was a much better wicket, a good wicket for batting and a good wicket for playing entertaining cricket. This one here isn't quite up to the mark in terms of being able to play entertaining cricket as a batsman, but it still holds a tremendous amount of intrigue. 21 wickets have fallen in 2 days. South Africa, I think, being on the back foot without any shadow of a doubt, will console themselves to a degree that in India's first innings, India was 74 for no wicket. And realistically, they are less than that now, even with a lead included. More of that in a minute. Fani de Villiers opens the day.
And turned away by Mongia for the first runs of the morning. Still to fine leg. Adams, the fielder.
India are happy to know that if they can, they've got a day and a half, 2 days if they like, to bat to put up a real total. I think South Africa's big target area will be, they won't want to have to score more than 237. 237 being the highest score so far in the game, and historically on any surface, no side has won a match having to score the highest amount of runs of the game in order to do it. Fani de Villiers getting the outswinger going early on, something we haven't seen as much of in this Test series from him, but that's nice movement. And yes, you did play at it, young man, although the leave afterwards was the shot that perhaps should have used up front. 7.
Shout, and he may have dropped it in the end. I will say that Klusener was the only one that went up for some obscure reason, and he just hit Favouritson's gloves and it may have just come straight out. Bang, onto the knee and out. Klusener's up there, you can see bottom left of the screen.
How many boundaries this morning to third man? 3, I think. It's 31 for 1. No solace at all for Richardson, just away to his left, and that will be 4 more runs.
This is one of the reasons why de Villiers was left out of the previous Test match. They felt that he wasn't bowling his normal superb length and line. Here you see again straying down leg side.
No ball signal, a hesitation here, and that would have been really close had he hit Herschel Gibbs. In fact, Mongia might just have been run out.
Well, run out over no ball is sacrilege, really. Let's see if he would have been. I can't help but think he would. He wants it. There's the small hesitation. And comfortably on his way. Had Herschel Gibbs hit.
Well, I guess he's not learned from Calcutta. the last thing you want on a surface like this is to lose a wicket by way of a run out. As it is, the batsmen are having problems there, coping with the bounce and turn. And then a gift by way of a run out. Not what you want. This is where the problem started, that hesitation. And had Gibbs hit here, underarm, Mongia would have been running all the way back to the pavilion.
Kirsten went down a little clumsily there. I thought for a moment he might have injured himself, as we saw Ganguly do. He certainly threatened to stop it, which is why no run was completed.
Lal Shahir might just have missed leg stump. That one did keep low. It's 22 for 1. Beautifully struck by Kumble. Further frustration for South Africa. That's gone for 4. Further frustration for South Africa. That's gone for 4. And takes the lead up now to 100 as India go up to 40 for 1.
Yes. Very well described. Kumble plays this shot very well, the cover drive. He doesn't thrash it through the covers. You notice that? Just eases it through. That's just because he's not a genuine batsman. I know that he wouldn't like me saying that, but he doesn't play the flourishing cover drive and whack it to the boundary. But what he does do is he moves his weight very well.
Close is given him. Ideal example of the incoming ball as David Hooks is drawing in the previous over. This one was bang on target. It's goodbye to Mongia.
And Dave Richardson says thank you very much. These crews are getting reasonably close, bowling straight and just playing across the line. Mongia there ever so slightly. He does play straight very well on that occasion. Played across the line trying to hit with the line of the ball, but it straightened up. And umpire Venkat had no hesitation in saying, Mongia, you are out for 18. And India now lose its second wicket for 41.
So South Africa have got the breakthrough they were looking for. The wicket of Nayan Mongia. India 41 for 2 as Sourav Ganguly comes out to bat.
This is 4 runs, and it's 4 very handsome runs indeed to Kumble. Call him a lower order batsman, a night watchman, whatever you like, but he's been a troublesome man for South Africa, and that was too wide for Macmillan, and he really laid the bat on this.
This is a cracking shot by Anil Kumble. He's got the width, and he's tanked it through point. It's the kind of shot that could have done any top order batsman proud.
This is down between slip and gully for 4 runs. No third man. He's played a number in that area, and they've gone to the fielders this time through the gap.
He gets a lot of runs in that area, Sourav Ganguly. And Kaluzna looking to angle this one across. Not quite timing it, getting it on the bottom of the bat. The ball going in the gap between second slip and gully.
Kaluzna might be suggesting to him that he can't wait to get at Ganguly at Kingsmead sometime around Boxing Day. This is now through the covers. It's a lovely shot. Gibbs is after it. He'll haul it in because he's so quick across the turf, but they'll get 2 easy runs. Nice looking stroke shot by Ganguly, who limps back for the second.
Yes, he just ambled across for that second run, but coming back to the shot, this was beautifully timed. Everything right about this. Nice follow through, good balance. But the problem arises here when he's running back for the second run after Herschel Gibbs pulls this one back.
This is hit through the covers. It's 4 very good runs. So that's twice now that Kumble has lashed Brian McMillan to the boundary.
This is another glorious cover drive by Kumble. He's played some lovely shots already in this inning, and here is just another one. Right out there to the pitch of the ball, his front foot, and finding the gap on the offside.
Kenny plays well, just backward of square, and it's past Gibbs, and it might go for 4. No, Simcox does well to get round the third man boundary, get a foot on it, and they get 2 runs. They could have got 3 maybe, but Ganguly, remember, is hobbling. So 2 more to end the over, 59 for 2.
Standard delivery by Adams, very, very good. And when Cronje threw in the ball, the crowd roared and cheered, so he's already a favourite.
Well, another boundary. Daniel Kumble, having played and missed at the previous delivery, he didn't mess around with this one.
Herschel Gibbs is in the covers. He put his hand up to catch it, and the only problem was he's about 14 feet too short.
And the outside edge takes it past Kuzner, and brilliantly stopped. Brilliantly stopped.
Well, just go back to the delivery first. Umpire Shepherd just accepting the fieldsman's decision. And a brilliant piece of fielding. Kuzner flicks it back quite easily, then falls across the line and gets the applause of the ball boy. So that is an outstanding piece of fielding. Very good delivery.
Cut away, Simcox chases. The ball will do its very best to get to the boundary.
This was a very good shot, because you'll hear cries of ooh and ah and a bit of anguish by the fieldsman, but so well did he play that he was able to get it very close to the boundary, and it was only with the old man chasing it. Ganguly, a lovely player through there. He tries to run off Ganguly, in fact, and realises that he's got a runner and doesn't have to do the work, but in the end, nobody has to do the work. It's not a shot you would recommend that Robin to youngsters to copy, but he just seems to be able to play it so well on these low, slow tracks.
It's just perfect timing, isn't it? And he knows exactly what he's doing. Absolutely in control of it.
And passes it well. A catch, and that won't please Pat Simcox. It's gone quite sharply past first slip. And Cullinan was the man, but he appeared to thrust out his right hand very, very late.
Having said that the ball went quickly, which it did, I'm not surprised Pat Simcox is a little concerned. Beautifully bowled. Turned enough, hit quite a fat edge, that got it past the wicketkeeper.
Ganguly is very good through the offside. Even with the injured back ankle, he's still able to get the ball to the boundary through the offside. India go to 91 for 2. Got him. Cover point, catches it, and it gives it cover point coming forward, and Kumble's night watchman innings, which was very good, comes to an end. A very, very good catch at cover point.
Well, I guess this is one way that you wouldn't expect to get out on this particular pitch. Nicely caught by young Gibbs. He just had to reach forward and down a little bit. But equally excellent innings from Anil Kumble. He's held up the South African attack for the whole morning and into the afternoon, and if anybody's ever done his job, that man has. India 91 for 3.
That's 91 for 3 because of this. Because of this. Short. And short. And he's a very, very good player for the offside. He's going to do it. Number 2, he finished the over 95 for 3. And he finished the over on 95 for 3.
Driven through the covers, that's all right, ball and driven through the covers, 4 runs, 4 to 1. It's the top ball to 5.
This is a lovely chance by Andrew Ball. It's again the spinning ball. Very important that you get front foot right out. Very important that you're getting into it and finding the gap. Leading into it off and finding the gap between the off and cover.
Put us through. Well, he's played 3 lovely shots and he's so excited with that one that he sets off to his wicket to run. And that's why you see that smile on his face. Not only is he headed to the boundary, but not only is he headed to the boundary, but also he started galloping down the pitch with his injured ankle.
Again, a glorious piece of timing. Lovely to watch Ganguly when he's in full flow and driving through the offside. Here finds the gap to perfection.
Another one, same place, same result.
Well, that's an action replay of the previous cover drive. Beautifully put away by Ganguly, 110 for 3.
Dropped there, I think he might have been. That's the position that Fani de Villiers has got Tendulkar on a couple of occasions. Gary Kirsten in at short mid-wicket, but it was very firmly hit by Tendulkar. And he dived away to his left, got a hand to it. This is a bad ball. It's a full toss and it's hammered away through mid-wicket for 4.
Well, Tendulkar has accepted this gift from de Villiers. And a lovely wristy shot past the onside. A lot of work being put there with the wrist. Simple reason for that. He wants to get that ball away from that close-in fielder there, Gary Kirsten.
Is that the one? It's thrown up by Macmillan, and away goes Ganguly. Yes, there's a deathly hush around the ground. So much so that for a moment one thought it was only just off the pad and that the South Africans, well, they didn't even really appeal. It was so obvious to them, but a brilliant catch by Macmillan. It went very quickly and almost a carbon copy dismissal of the Gary Kirsten incident.
Again, closing the face of the blade a little too soon, trying to play against the spin, getting the leading edge, and Macmillan taking a good catch. So Ganguly's fine innings comes to an end for 41, and India lose.
Yes, the fourth wicket has gone down, 121 on the board. Let's have a look at it again. Turn here, just enough to find the leading edge as he tried to turn it, and almost exactly the same way as Gary Kirsten was dismissed. Caught in the same place. It was a brilliant catch by Rahman, one-handed going to his right. This was more straight at the fielder, and he accepted it with both hands, but it did go quickly off the bat. End of a fine innings, 121 for 4.
That's crashed through the covers for 4, and Azharuddin doesn't move. Just for effect, plays the shot and stands where he is. That's good work, energy. Just hope so did head over the ball, onto it so quickly. Head over the ball, take that, wait through it, take that. That's another example of that. 95% of the quickness in the world will have driven that through before. Not without doing that couldn't have read it before. 134 before. That was clobbered. Another word for it. When that hit ball, it's about 4 or 5 stumps outside the off stump.
Yeah, even though this ball turned more than Azharuddin might have thought, he still just reached a little bit further and still pulled it wide of the fielder. But what does have to be said here is that Adams is bowling too many loose deliveries for his captain's liking. It's been a long hop, a full toss and a half volley in the last over and a bit. And South Africa just don't have those runs. There goes the short leg. Gary Kirsten goes out to mid-wicket, which means that South Africa go one step further back onto the back foot. Really, Antti Cronje would love his left-arm spinner to be just a bit more accurate than this.
Pick up a single here. Both Cronje and Adams would have preferred to have that man close in there on the onside, try and pick up a bat pad. And given the fact that Adams is tending to be just a bit loose, and loose not in the sense of I'm as loose as a goose, that quote of his, cannot afford to have so many people close in. Can't quite hit the ball as well as you might otherwise have to look, otherwise that look like another boundary. But certainly the ball demanded a boundary we hit. So in the lead by 200.
Ominous lead that, especially with 6 more wickets to fall.
Cotton ball in the first inning, almost did him in the second, but that ball actually was hit very, very hard. Goes away for 4, so Azharuddin's going to keep that scoreboard moving. 144 for 4.
Last ball of the Paul Adams over. Rolling over the wicket, Azharuddin drives it down the offside and it's past him. past him before he had a chance to try and catch it.
Went to the Turks, they deserve it.
Full toss from the South African spin twins, and dealt with beautifully by Azruddin, and equally well by the fielder.
The last one is, oh dear, this is going to be 4 byes. Well, you see how low it kept, and it got under Dave Richardson, 168 for 4. Tendulkar, just the single, because Gibbs is very deep at his backward point position. Through mid-wicket, 4 runs. Oh, that's a lovely shot by Azruddin. Just slightly overpitched by Klusner, and with the reverse swing, he clipped it away through mid-wicket.
This would give nightmares to Lance Klusner. That is a shot that made up the majority of his 5 consecutive 4s in Calcutta in the first innings, where Klusner took none for 75, and Azruddin, on the way to the 4th fastest ever Test century, hit him for those 5 4s in 1 over, 5 consecutive 4s in fact, and all through the mid-wicket, mid-on area. So that will bring some nightmares back to Klusner.
Yes, that century of 74 balls. Kapil Dev also made 100 of 74 balls. So he shares that record with the great Kapil Dev, who arrived up here in our commentary position just before tea. Now, there are those kids again. They're only about 10, 11 years old. And Hooksy, in a couple of years, they won't be able to keep them apart. Well, that's 4. He's a great improviser and an extraordinarily difficult batsman to keep quiet is Azruddin. He's just got a certain genius about him.
Lovely wrist work. Watch the wrist. See that? He flicked it past first slip. Bit risky, but no bounce. He did get up into the air for a while, but no second slip. And Azruddin is in such good form that he would not have played that shot if there were a second slip. He has just skated along to 38.
And now he cover drives, and it's 4 more. The fielders don't move. And Hansi Cronje's head just for a moment drops as that races to the boundary. That's 3 4s in the over. Azruddin on song.
Yes, that is a sensational shot. And the fielder's body language tells you what's happening to the South Africans at the moment. Look at that. They just stand there. They don't even go. They wait for the ball boy to throw it back.
He's caught now. At last, Klusner finds the outside edge. And did that actually possibly somehow deviate away from Tendulkar, because he's been getting them all to come into the right-handed batsman, and it seems as though he might just have got this to hold up for a second. Yes, and found the outside edge.
Yes, that's what happened. It hit the seam and held its own line instead of going into Tendulkar. He had a poor shot a couple of balls ago, and he will be disappointed. He concentrated very hard again, but he has been dismissed now for 36. Klusner getting some revenge. India 192 for 5.
The new batsman coming in below Azruddin in this innings, and this is why.
last ball of the previous over. You saw how he forced him off balance to Tendulkar. He realises there that he's edged it, doesn't even bother to look at umpire Venkat, and just slowly turns. Klusner is pleased, and so the young man should be.
Beautiful stroke. Bread and butter for Azharuddin, anywhere near his pads. But what execution.
Well, he's got so many runs in his career playing that shot, and this is gloriously played. Angled towards leg stump, played it late, closed the face of the blade, and Paul Adams had no chance. Another sizzling boundary for Mohammad Azharuddin.
From here, I'd say he's in comfortably. But it's a long way away. Wonderful bit of fielding from Klusner. If you're going to hit middle. Had all three to aim at. Let's see what our third umpire has to say about it.
Good direct hit here, but like you said, Robin, I think Rahul Dravid has made his ground comfortably. Yes, he has. So that will bring Mohammad Azharuddin on strike. He's too short of his 50. It's been another scintillating knock. And it's been punctuated by boundaries all around the wicket. 48 in just 69 balls.
Another great drive from Azharuddin. He really has set this ground alight.
Well, he's batted differently to any other player in this game. He's come out there and played his shots. And that's another superb off drive to bring up his 50. Terrific knock this. 52 in just 71 balls. The man's on fire.
Oh, beautiful shot. Every few overs, Azharuddin unleashes this one. This really was an absolute gem.
We know the skill of Azharuddin on the leg side, and he's not too bad, thank you very much, on that side, and he has just smashed that. And as he hits it, he says, thank you very much, that's the boundary 4. Some cricketers want to say, that'll be 4, no need to run.
Still 11 fours. Make that 12.
Azharuddin at 67 is the highest scorer for this match thus far. And he has a penchant for hitting consecutive boundaries off Klusner. And thank you, Mother, for the rabbits. That's 4.
He's picked that up, and that's gone for 4. Down past square leg, in the air for just a while, but the fielder was in. And Mohammad Azharuddin shows he doesn't mind taking the odd chance. 225 for 5. He's picked the gap. Not quite hit hard enough. Old batsman Coxiga's running away after it. 242 for 5 brings up the 50 of the partnership, so another very good partnership for India. Lovely to see these two bat together. In a sense, Rahul Dravid is going to pick up with experience in the Indian side after Azharuddin has had enough. That will go for 4. Pat Simcox has just had a long run down to deep mid-wicket. He's not even going to bother running after this one.
So the last ball of the day, and it's a wasted one from Macmillan. And away they go to the sanctity of the dressing room. It'll be a very happy Indian dressing room with a lead of 330 and 5 wickets in hand, and Azharuddin still at the wicket, nearing his 16th Test century, and Dravid looking good. And South Africa will have to try and bowl India out as soon as possible on resumption tomorrow. But it's been a very, very good day indeed for India. They resumed at there.
Thank you very much, Harsha Bogle. And a very good morning to this, the 4th morning, the final McDowell Test match. The series locked at 1-1. The pendulum definitely in favour of India at the moment. De Villiers to bowl from the pavilion end, his 22nd over to Mohammad Azharuddin on 88. And immediately the aggression of Azharuddin sees a single with half a chance of a bit of a run-out chance, in the sense that the batsman started and stopped after the misfield. And Ravi, are there any parts of this ground that you haven't seen this morning?
Some people have to work for a living, Hooksy. But again, Azharuddin starting off from where he left yesterday.
Azharuddin, very fine. It may well have been off the thigh pad. No, it's not. Umpire Venkat said there was back. No, it was. So, Umpire Venkat signalling the 4 first and then the leg by. Short single, putting Adams under pressure. If he hits, it won't matter.
Good comp and good running by the two batsmen.
And classical Azharuddin. So the champion's brought up his 16th century. He gets a pat on the back by Simcox as he walks past in recognition. The standing applause of his teammates. He acknowledges his opponent's applause as well. And one of the nice guys of Test cricket has just brought up his 16th Test century.
Covers yet again. And I think, Robin, the message is now out. Get the runs as quickly as possible.
You see, that's not bad bowling. That's very good and innovative batting. He's landed this on a length down the wicket, drive it. He's batting with freedom. Previous delivery was a poor one. The South African off-spinner has battled during this game. And that's Dravid's 50. And a very well-deserved and very well-played half-century it is too.
It's 315 for 5.
He's come in for quite a good deal of punishment, and more here as he's hit over the head of middle for another boundary. So 4 more runs, and we'll take up the discussion that Robin Jackman was going on about in a short while. 347 for 5. Let's not forget, though, the wonderful performance of Adams in the first innings, 6 for 55. We were disappointed that he has not been able to repeat it, as Gary Kirsten down at Long On can do no more than watch it sail over his head, and up goes umpire Shepherd's hands maximum.
Well, he's really got stuck into this one, Mohammad Azharuddin. Lovely use of his feet. And once he knew he wasn't there to the pitch of the ball, just went through with the shot, timed it beautifully. Way over long on for 6.
Tries it again and miscues altogether and gets a single to the short fine leg position. Some nice fielding there, and the ball whipped into wicketkeeper Richardson, who had the bails off, but Dravid was well home. Caught, I think. It's grabbed by Macmillan, and Dravid reluctant to leave, but he has to go in the end. And he is caught at slip, at a very good catch indeed by Brian Macmillan. And Dravid just hovered for a moment, and eventually I think a nod of the head from umpire Venkat sent him on his way.
Very good reflexes here by Macmillan. He's a big man, but he came down very quickly to take that outside edge. Umpire Venkatraghavan having no doubt in his mind that Macmillan had taken the catch, so India lose their first wicket of the morning, their 6th of the innings, 357 for 6.
He is the new batsman. He's on a pair, not an easy time to come in. This is why he did come to the wicket, because Dravid pushed forward to a delivery that was well wide of the off stump and just spinning away from him, and he pushed at it. And a brilliant catch by Brian Macmillan. So she hammers, and well, that's as good a way to get off a pair as you could hope. A lovely on drive for 4.
That'll make him feel better. No batsman likes to be on a pair, and this is firmly struck by Joshi.
This is going to be more runs. It was airborne for a while, but there's a short mid-wicket in there. It was well wide of him and also of the man deep at mid-on, and goes for 4. And so 100 runs we've had today.
But when you're taking a bit of a pasting, it's very, very difficult indeed. The hero of the day, Mohammad Azharuddin, and the hero of yesterday too. I just think it's been a privilege and a pleasure to watch such a masterful innings from such a fine, fine player. 163 not out. .130 in the session in 32 overs, and a wonderful partnership between Azharuddin and Rahul Dravid. 25 fours Azharuddin hit in that 163, and 1/6, 5 hours and 15 minutes at the crease. And the partnership between he and Rahul Dravid, 165 for the 6th wicket. And the South African bowlers really did stick to their task. One can say that of them. Especially the seamers, de Villiers and Klusner having to bowl the lion's share of the overs in a lot of sense, certainly up until this morning. Brian Macmillan bowled pretty well without success, as did Hansi Cronje. And we've discussed the merits of Adams and Simcox. Adams the hero in the first innings when he bowled really quite wonderfully well. And he's on a learning curve in Test cricket. Pat Simcox, I don't think, bowled as well as he can do, almost by his own admission, talking to him during this Test match.
We join the South African second innings with Prasad bowling to Hudson.
That's a lovely shot. Straight down the ground. That's how Hudson likes to play, with a full face of the bat, and he's going to get 4 runs.
That's a lovely shot. Everything was right about that. First ball really pitched up in this innings, and Hudson putting that away. Full face of the blade, good balance.
Ravi thinks he's come on in huge strides, and I know you do too.
This is going to be a good shout because the ball hit the pad first on the way to the wicketkeeper. We'll have to see if it came back enough.
Just flicks the pad as it goes through to the wicketkeeper. But that certainly was a good shot without a shot.
This didn't come back enough. I'm still thinking it would have missed off stump, but a close call when you're not playing a shot.
Oh, that came back a long way. Not long enough for him to earn the verdict from umpire Shepherd. Or maybe too much. He's taking a long explanation, certainly, but with a little grin on the face. It really jags back, Shepherd says. That's missing leg stump, and it's a little on the high side, too. With an edge just short of Mongia. Now, that's great bowling because two balls have jagged back at the right-handed Hudson, and this one hits the seam and nips away. Doesn't quite carry to Mongia as cameraman follows it the whole way. Well done, Rian. There's no third man. That'll go away for 4. Saw that shot played by Ganguly very successfully. It's obviously the other way round, being left-handed, and Hudson plays this just as nicely. Soft hands, run it away through the empty spaces. Kirsten in strike now. Oh, that might be close. He's given in. Umpire Shepherd has decided that he was adjacent enough. A little nod of the head. Kirsten looking absolutely dejected as well, he might. But South Africa have lost wicket number 1, and Srinath has struck again. Now, let's see if there's any reason for Kirsten to feel dejected or if it's just natural disappointment. Thought I heard 2 noises. It's a question of whether it's hit the pad before the bat or whether it's only hit the pad. Everything else looked pretty good. It's pitched on, straightened. It's gone straight into the middle of the shin bone. I don't think Gary Kirsten need be disappointed at all. LBW Srinath for 7, and it's 21 for 1. Herschel Gibbs, but let's take a look at the Kirsten dismissal once again. Robin? First thing we look for is where the ball pitches. It pitches between wicket and wicket. It straightens, it goes straight into the shin bone, then I think it slid off and maybe hit the bat. But there's no doubt that the bat was not near enough to the ball to have hit it prior to the ball hitting the pad. That's now slid off the pad and onto the bat. That's not true. Did it take inside edge? They're all up in the field. They think it hit it. Definitely hit something. Might have been bad, might have been inside edge, but I'll tell you what, it certainly went right through Herschel Gibbs. Fantastic delivery from Javagal Srinath. Taylor, wicket under the belt. Gibbs doing the right thing by getting forward. Flap of the pad. Brilliant decision from David Shepherd. See the flap, the pad of the flap, just the pad of the flap. And I'm going really well here. I'm so excited about what such a good umpiring decision that was. The flap of the pad. I'll get it now. Congratulations, Robin. Indeed, outstanding decision there. Because When I first saw it happen, Robin, at normal speed, I was convinced it had hit something. It had, but at the speed at which it was going, it was very difficult to tell.
Just the top of the pad there so that I don't get myself into a state again. Very confident appealing from everybody. It makes the right sort of noise when it just clips the top of the leather. Sounds very wooden. And what an over. The next delivery that we've almost ignored because of the LBW shout seemed away from Gibbs. Which one? What's this going to do?
Just doing everything right.
The perfect delivery. Draw the batsman forward and lead him. Fantastic over this from the Indian opening bowler.
It's gone pretty fine. Oh dear. Has he picked it up just inside? Now that would be a very interesting one to watch again because he missed it first, picked it up again with his left hand. Now umpire Shepherd's asking him and he says, I don't know, but I just suspect that when he picked up the ball, his foot was on the line. Umpire Shepherd's still looking at him.
I just wonder whether the ball didn't actually rest against the rope for a second or two. Here's the fumble.
Oh, there's
another nod.
He's admitted, Robin.
Has it rolled along the rope? Yeah.
And he's now bowled. Prasad has gone through his defences and Herschel Gibbs has been bowled. South Africa 2 down.
Well, this time he didn't know where his off stump was. I think he might have just played inside the line of this one. We'll take another look. Yes, he has. Missed it altogether, and his off stump has gone for a walk. South Africa lose their second wicket. Herschel Gibbs gone for 5.
Darryl Cullinan to the wicket to face the music. They'll have to hurry, and I don't think Cullinan has made it. Now that is an absolutely outrageous run out. At this stage of the game, the run's not important at all, really. This is a real tragedy for South Africa.
Well, this is going to be very close. The Indians are congratulating Tendulkar. Good sharp piece of fielding, and he's knocked out the middle stump. So often we've seen when there are direct hits, the batsman is short of his crease. Let's take another look. Yes, he's gone. He's out by 1.5 feet. And the last thing South Africa wanted was to lose the wicket by way of a run out.
That is very bad cricket, Ravi. Really up against it, South Africa. They could ill afford ill judgment like that. Whatever possessed Al Cullinan to set off for that run, I do not know. He's paid the penalty, run out for 2, and South Africa 29 now for 3. The new batsman, he will be very angry because we have just experienced a moment of madness. But we watch Srinath as he goes to Hudson. Peel for LBW. He's going to go for 4 runs behind the wicket-keeper. And it's leg by, signalled by umpire Shepherd.
Well, the question to be asked here is, do South Africa need to take such risks? Cullinan takes it, and he's got to run all the way back to the pavilion because of that direct hit from Tendulkar.
The answer is quite simply no. Runs inconsequential in the equation as it stands. Splendid bit of fielding. Let's not take anything away from the Indian captain, Tendulkar. Brilliant bit of fielding, in fact. but a real moment of madness. So South Africa 3 down. Whether it was for 33 or 133, it wouldn't really be of great importance. This is sliding down the leg side, and umpire Shepherd. So the end of, no, it is indeed the end of the over. It is, yes, 33 for 3. Through the covers, 4 runs. A defiant stroke from the South African captain.
This was right up in the slot for the cover drive. Hansi Cronje is a tall man. Nicely into this one, leaning over it and finding the gap between cover and point. That's his first boundary.
Just held that one back a little, Prasad. Again hitting the pad. Again there was the in-swing going down the leg side, so they didn't really bother with the appeal. End of over, 43 for 3.
Srinath in his 11th over, 3 slips. He's bowling to Hansi Cronje. Vulkeri Raman's running after it. I thought it was 3 quite easily. They preferred 2. That's one reason why.
And it'll be interesting to see if Joshi gets a little more help from this end.
Indeed, Kapoor bowled his 9 overs for just 10 runs. That'll go all the way. Long leg is 2 square. In fact, square leg is 2 square. That ball's gone to long leg. Cronje picks up 4 more. Srinath the fielder there.
That's a loose delivery from Joshi. It was way outside the leg stump, and all Cronje had to do was help it on its way.
Hansi Cronje, Ravi has now gone 10 innings without a 50. Stunning shot. Just about saw the ball, if you're watching it through the naked eye, as it clattered into those advertising boards.
Yes, this time it came off and it looked good. You're talking about motivation again. This is a fine shot by Cronje. One wonders if it would have been better for the selectors to announce the team maybe tomorrow.
There's not much support for Joshi there in the deep, but this time Srinath looks like he might just get a foot in. He didn't. So the run's coming here for Cronje.
Yes, and he's sweeping from the stumps. There's no one on the onside. There's a big gap there between square leg and mid-on. Srinath unable to get his foot to that ball, and another boundary for Cronje. Consecutive boundaries now for the South African captain as he inches towards his 50.
Straight back down. It might just be 4 more. If it is, it will be 50 for Hansi Cronje. It is. Top innings this from Cronje. It is 97 for 3.
Because he loves to sweep, Hansi Cronje. It's a high-risk shot, and now by keeping a man in there, Cronje, not only that.
Brian McMillan is in because South Africa have lost a big wicket, the wicket of Hansi Cronje, just when he looked good, to an outstanding piece of spin bowling and captaincy.
One minute playing comfortably, the next minute that sort of thing happens. They say, if I just keep playing like this, it's going to go to somebody in a minute, so I just as well be reasonably aggressive. And
that was certainly the attitude of Hansi Cronje, and you can't entirely fault it, even though it looked as though he was taking the odd risk here and there. Hudson, by contrast, has been a study of circumspection. I say that, and immediately he plays a shot that certainly defies what I said a moment ago. It happens so often in this game of cricket. A bad shot by Andrew Hudson, and so nearly cost him his wicket.
That's a good shot if it goes for 4, but the top edge doesn't look so clever. In the air, catch, and umpire David Shepherd asks Andrew Hudson to leave the field of play.
Well, just as we were singing his praises about how he'd batted so resolutely against the spin, it's Kumble who gets him. And again, that one that just slides into you more than anything, and he was looking for a bit of spin and was late, and then playing down the right line and just got the inside edge onto the pad, and then a nice easy catch for forward short leg. Luxman, the 12th man who's on for Ganguly, and 31 Hudson's gone, 109 for 5.
David Richardson, the new batsman, South African wicket-keeper. This is why.
But a nice flighted delivery, but just slides, as it were, into the right-hander, and he was playing more for the leg spin, got the inside edge onto the easy catch for Luxman. Might well have been in business there again. That just came off the bat and was in the air for a moment, but dropping short of the bowler.
No, hit that almost as an afterthought. Hit it very late. The ball was almost past him, and then Richardson gave it a little slash and it went away for 4. It's 120 for 5.
Still opting to play off the back foot, McMillan. Sure Kumble would be aware of that. Just fire one up to the right-hander. And now Tendulkar deciding to attack. He knows this is the last over of the day. He's got some more men in catching position.
Virtually everyone now.
Oh, ball jam.
Let's just take account of how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 catchers in the off, 2 on the on. The rest of the fielders must be fielding pretty lonely. I guess Tendulkar also knows that McMillan's been quite visibly counting the balls. He's not going to attack. Just wants to play out time.
Can I use the telestrator, Simon? Very interesting field here for Anil Kumble. And McMillan still opting to go back. Now he's got a man in here, Sunil Joshi. And he's got a man in here at short extra cover, Sachin Tendulkar. The reason for that is that he would hope Kumble to bowl a fullish length to McMillan, and if the ball takes the leading edge, it can go to either one of those two fielders.